Today we are going to do part 2 of the poem from First Flight. The poem is How to Tell Wild Animals, written by Caroline Wells. This is from the First Flight Standard 10 textbook. So, recapitulation of stanza 1. What did the poet say? That if you ever go to the forest of the east, you may come across a large brownish yellow beast, and if it roars and you are about to die, you will know that it is the Asian lion. So, dying does not rhyme with lion. The poet has tried to rhyme the two words only to create humor. In stanza 2, we come across the Bengal tiger. If a noble beast with black stripes over yellow skin greets you as you are roaming around, and if he eats you, this simple rule identifies that it is the Bengal tiger. Expressions like black stripes, yellow ground are used to identify the animal. In stanza 3, we came across the leopard. So, while walking about, if you view a beast with his skin covered with spots, you will know that he is a leopard. Hide, peppered, leapt are used to identify the leopard. The words leapt and leapt are not spelled correctly, as I had told you before, that the poet can, using her poetic license, can change the spellings of the words. So this is done just to amuse the reader so that the line rhymes with the first part of leopard, the first part in which the leopard is used. Now let us go to stanza 4. If when you're walking round your yard, you meet a creature there who hugs you very, very hard, be sure it is a bear. If you have any doubts, I guess he will give you just one more caress. Now here we come across another beast, that is a bear. Okay. Now this here the poet has not used it as a wild beast. So she has portrayed the bear as loving and gentle beast, a milder animal. So it does not look like a wild beast. So if the poet says that while you're walking in your yard, you may encounter, you meet means you might encounter a creature there. And when this creature hugs you, when the creature, that is the bear, if it hugs you very hard, a friendly hug, then it would be referred to as a bear. So, but if a real bear hugs you, then it may not be that friendly. It might kill a man. Okay, so don't think that the poet has said that this is said bear to be as an harmless creature. No, bear is not an harmless creature. So it is just the poet's opinion to describe the bear. If you have any doubts, suppose you have any doubt whether this is a bear or not, so I guess the poet says that he will give you just one more caress. Caress means he will again embrace you with a gentle, loving touch. So the difficult word here we have come across only caress. Why she is rude creature? Because of the bear's personality as a loving and a gentle beast, a mild animal, just like a human being. So although it is very dangerous, bears are also very dangerous. So here the rhyme scheme that the poet is used is AB, AB, CC, again AB, AB, CC. There are different poetic devices or the figures of speech that are used. Again, line 1 and 2, we come across enjambment, the continuation of the sentences. In 5 and 6, again we see the continuation of sentences. Enjambment means continuation of sentences without any punctuation mark. When walking becomes the alliteration. Line 3, again we come across alliteration, who hugs. Now here we go by the sound, that is the her sound that is repeating in both the words. In line 4, be bear. Again, b sound is repeated, so it becomes alliteration. So all these figures of speech I have given in my next slide. The rhyme scheme, enjambment, as we already discussed, alliteration, and yes, the use of assonance, that is the use of the vowel sound e. Meet a creature there. This is in the second line. If you see, you meet a creature there, meet a creature there. E sound has been repeated. So the word meanings are also given for stanza 4. Rhyme scheme as well as the word meanings are given. Yard, backyard or the lawn area of the house. Caress means a gentle touch. Okay. So let us go to stanza 5. The poet has described, though to distinguish beasts of prey, a novice might nonplus. The crocodile you always may tell from the hyena thus. Hyenas come with merry smiles, but if they weep, they are crocodile. Now here the poet is describing about hyena and a crocodile. Now she compares both the animals. Now novice, here novice means a new person, an inexperienced person. Nonplus means someone who is very confused. So a person who is a very new person and goes to the jungle, he might get confused to identify the beast of prey. The beast of prey. Who are the beast of prey? Beast of prey are animals who hunt other animals for food. So he might get confused to identify the beast of prey. And if you don't know and are not aware of it, so the poet says you can distinguish between both hyena and crocodile, as hyenas come with merry smiles and the crocodile always weeps. The crocodile always weeps and the hyena comes with merry smiles. So this is the distinguished characters that the poet has highlighted to differentiate between both the animals. Now she says that a novice, a new person, may be puzzled and confused, and thus might not be able to distinguish between both the animals. Hence the poet helps to differentiate the crocodile from the hyena. She says that hyena always laughs as it swallows its victim. A laughing hyena voice resembles humans' laughing sound. So a crocodile, on the other hand, is said to shed tears while eating its prey. The poet thus warns the readers not to wait for a hyena to laugh or a crocodile to weep. So this is the differentiation that she has shown in this stanza. Again, the rhyme scheme of the stanza is A B C C. A B C C. Again, prey may nonplus thus smiles crocodile. And about the figures of speech, I have explained all the figures of speech I have given in the next slide. Now again the rhyme scheme as we have discussed. The alliteration, the use of consonant sound. The consonant sound novice nonplus. N sound has been used. And use of the sound, the, thus. The use of the consonant sound can be seen in line 2, alliteration. Again, the, thus can be seen in the stanza. So, the is seen in the third line, thus is seen in the fourth line. In the fourth line, the poet uses the hyena thus. So, this again becomes alliteration. Enjambment, again like I told you, the continuation of sentences without any punctuation mark. Here again we can see line 1 and line 2. The continuation of the sentences, and again line 3 and line 4. Again the continuation of sentence without any punctuation mark is seen here. So this becomes enjambment. I hope you have understood this stanza. Let's read the next stanza. The true chameleon is small, a lizard sort of thing. He hasn't any ears at all, and not a single wing. If there is nothing on the tree, it is the chameleon you see. Now we are talking about another creature, that is a true chameleon. Who is a chameleon? What is a chameleon? A chameleon changes its color around according to the surrounding. It changes its color of its skin according to the surrounding. If the background is green, it will change into green and you won't be able to notice it properly. So it camouflages according to the background. So that is what the poet wants to tell us, that the poet describes a chameleon, and she says that in a small it is a sort of a small lizard. Sort of thing means like a small lizard. It doesn't have ears or wings. It doesn't have ears or it doesn't have wings like the lizard. So the poet further says that if you are unable to see a thing on the tree, if you are unable to see anything on the tree, then you are sure that it is a chameleon is sitting there on the tree. A chameleon is an expert at camouflage. It changes its color according to the surrounding, and it is difficult to see a chameleon, like I told you. So this capacity of camouflage helps the chameleon in saving itself from the hunters. So this is the distinctive feature of chameleon that the poet describes about a chameleon. Okay. Now again the figures of speech and the rhyme scheme. The rhyme scheme is again the same. A, B, A, B, C, C. And the figures of speech I have described in the next slide. The figures of speech, again alliteration is used. Her sound, he hasn't any ears. In this sentence, he hasn't. Her sound has been repeated, so it becomes alliteration. Consonants, use of G sound. G sound is used, and single wing. So it doesn't have a wing. So this consonants has been used here. So here we can make out that the poet tries to describe all the distinctive features of these animals and how we can distinguish each animal from the other. So she has introduced 7 animals, like we have seen the other 3 stanzas in my last video. I hope you go through all the stanzas properly and you mark all the difficult words as well as the figures of speech of each stanza, and I hope you have understood the poem very well. The figures of speech are very important. The questions, please refer to the questions that are given behind the text. It will help you immensely. Thank you.